Hello, welcome to Dharma Talk Tuesday this week. I'm really excited about this topic. I had actually a lot of messages come through about this topic. I sent an email out about it. I talked about it on my social media, and wow, didn't realize this was such a big one for so many people. So as you're joining, I would love for you to share just where you're tuning in from, what your experience is with the topic of intuition. Like, are you really connected to your intuition? Maybe like on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being like, yes, like me and my intuition, we're like this. Or maybe if you're still kind of newer in the space and like, wow, like there's an inner voice that speaks with me. That's interesting. Like, it's kind of a newer thing. That would probably be like a 0. And you're an excited and hopeful 10. So thank you for those of you that are joining. Hi, Tabitha. Great to see you here. Very good to see you here. I'm glad to see you're doing so well also in your posts that I've seen. So San Diego, yes. Hi, Heather. Thank you for joining. And also, as you are all joining, if you know anyone who you think this message is really good for, really resonant for, and something that they really need to hear, just tag them below. Just, hey, name, you really want to watch this. This is going to be great. I really recommend that you check this out. Or you can hit the share button as well as you're joining too, to get this out to more people, because this is one of those things, like, you know, I don't know about you, I actually used to hate my intuition growing up. I mean, we're all born with incredible divine connection to God, and I actually learned to hate my intuition. That was like when I made up about it, because I didn't like feeling stressed. I didn't like feeling the anxiety that I felt like came with it. Like when sometimes I would receive intuitive insights and I didn't like what I heard. And so I started to shut my intuition down, which not like on purpose, but it was like I'd ignore it. Or I would choose to cover it up. Like sometimes the intuition felt kind of painful, so I would cover it up with like overeating or generating drama in my life so I could focus on that instead of my intuition. I totally take responsibility for that. Not like it was a good thing. It just was what how I subconsciously chose to handle it. And so I think that happens to a lot of empaths, where we don't really know what intuition is, or why it's actually beneficial for us, or why it's actually a good thing. And so we shut it down, we shut it out. And like the more that we're not following our intuition, the more off purpose we become. And as a result, our lives get kind of messy. It's like we think shutting our intuition down is going to help us, and instead it causes our lives to be very messy. And so if you know anyone who this message would be really resonant for, please hit the share button and tag them below. Hi, Shamika. I want to say hi to everyone who's joining. As you're joining, please just put a little comment with where you're tuning in from, as well as how connected you feel to your intuition. 0 being like, don't even have any relationship with my intuition, but I'm working on it. And 10 being like, oh yeah, me and my intuition, we're besties. So we've got, who do we have here? Jamie, hello. Rachna, we have Judy, Stacy. We have, hi Shamika, I already said hi to you. Shiloh, hi. Mary, hello. David Steele, thanks for joining. All right, friends, so let's dive in here. The 5 universal pathways of intuition. So why are they called universal pathways? They're called universal because over the course of my time as a coach and doing what I do, I've discovered through work with hundreds of people that there are 5 ways. Oh, Natasha, hi. I didn't even see you on here. Hello. There are 5 ways that our intuition communicates with us. And it's like, after shutting down my intuition, as I said, I turned my life into chaos, and yet it still found a way to get to me. So miraculous. And one of the ways that it found me through was a way that's very common for a lot of people to regain access to their intuition. So that's one of the ways I'm going to talk about. I didn't expect it. I didn't like go into the thing expecting that to happen. I didn't expect there to be a catalyst to my intuition, but that's what happened because that's one of the universal pathways. So as quickly as I can, I'm going to go through the 5 universal pathways, and I look forward to seeing your hearts and likes as they resonate with you. So universal pathway number 1, drum roll, is moments of synchronicity. So does anyone know what moments of synchronicity are? Please type what you know to be moments of synchronicity in the chat box in the thread. Moments of synchronicity. It's like, oh, what? It's like, I just saw, so you're the third person to tell me about this book. Or like, oh my God, here's a really great one. I used to play synchronicity games on purpose. Matt and I would like spend our weekends playing synchronicity games. And so we would set an intention of the things we wanted to see and experience. And a coincidence, yes, Tabitha. And so we would say the things we wanted to see and experience. So like he said he wanted to see some balloons. I said I wanted to see an owl. And there were various other parameters for this one time we did this. And so we went to the beach, and of course, we happened to get to this one beach that we don't actually ever really go to. And there's like a thing set up, like a tent, and it's someone's birthday, and there's some balloons. How cool is that? Then we went to brunch after that together, and he just stopped for a minute, and he was like, I think your owls are inside. But it wasn't inside the brunch place. It was inside this door that looked like it kind of led to like this back, I don't know what. And he was like, no, your owl is inside here. I can feel it. And get this, you guys, we walked in to this back door of some place, which turned out to be an art gallery. And we didn't even have to, 2 steps in, we walked 2 steps in, turned right, and there's this massive blank canvas with an owl on it. What? And then it's so crazy because then later on that day, we were driving, we saw another set of balloons on someone's balcony, and then I didn't even see this one, but he was sitting here like looking out the balcony, and an owl flew by our balcony. Whoosh, just flew right by. So just to like drive the point extra home, the universe was like, here you go, moments of synchronicity. So Natasha says, I did that with dolphins. And Mary says, when a book jumps off the shelf at you. Great examples. So moments of synchronicity. This is like your intuition, AKA God, AKA the universe, AKA your higher self, trying to tell you something. So that's a pathway, universal pathway of the universe trying to talk to you. Number 2 is deja vu. It's that feeling of like, I was definitely here before. Or I feel like I was just having this conversation with you. Exact same words, wait, what? Did we already have this conversation? It's hearts and likes if you know what I'm talking about. Deja vu. And I would love for you to comment below if you've had a deja vu experience recently and what that was. Those are always so weird, aren't they? I like to think of them as it's like a time portal opens up, and it's like an opening into an overlapping time-space continuum, or there was like a glitch in the timeline, or there's something that happens energetically and universally. And it's sort of like a wink from the universe, like, you know what, like this life on earth is just such an illusion, and it's such a game, and we have such control over it. It's just, for me, it's a reminder of like, wow, I really do have such control over what I manifest in my reality. And the time-space continuum is included in that. And deja vu is just like that, boop, reminder, alarm moment, right? So that is number 2, is deja vu. Number 3 may surprise you. It surprised me when I first realized it was a pathway. Number 3 is something that seems pretty unpleasant, but it's actually a gift. And it's relevant mostly for women only, although I would argue that some men experience it too. And it is PMS. Who would have thought? So what's cool about PMS is that your hormones, scientifically speaking, your hormones change in such a way that you become very sensitive. And a lot of people think this is a bad thing. And they're like, they hate that feeling. And like, before I realized what a gateway this was, I hated it. I would turn into like a monster and get grumpy. And it was like the one time of the month when Matt and I would fight, because of course I would instigate something because that's where my energy was at. But I realized it wasn't about fighting, and it wasn't about being sensitive in a bad way. I realized there was an opportunity to receive, like to be like, my receptor was higher than ever, my antenna was higher than ever, and there was an opportunity to be like a divine receptor to wisdom and information. So that's actually a great time to ask for guidance, to set intentions, to do manifesting work, to pray, to do God work. Like it's a prime time, more so than any other time, to do manifesting work and to receive information from your intuition. Mary says, ooh, I have had this feeling lots, standing in a patient's kitchen, and it made me feel very strange. Exactly, exactly. So I want to say more about this PMS thing. This is actually, I have a whole month on this in my Dharma Academy program, which is my second level program that people go through after they go through Maya. And the reason I have a whole month on it is because it's actually very valuable. And the reason why, Mary says, so glad I don't have PMS anymore. So I was reading about that, Mary, and women still go through cycles even after their cycles have ended. And interestingly enough, men also go through cycles. And in a lot of ways, it's actually connected to the moon. So even if you're not experiencing those hormonal changes anymore and those symptoms, so to speak, anymore, you still want to be connected with moon cycles, which of course, if you're cycling with the moon, if you're healthy and in alignment, that's what happens is you cycle with the moon, right? And men cycle with the moon too. It's not even just women, but I'm obviously when it comes to PMS, that's a very like feminine focused topic. So we have a whole month in Maya called Feminine Cycles where I teach them how to capitalize and utilize and make it a good thing. If you're doing it right, it's actually an advantage. And it's a time of month, and you don't have to be in Dharma Academy to capitalize on this, but it's a time of the month where if you're attentive to, and you're intentional, that's really the better word, if you're intentional about your mornings and your evenings especially, and like the meditation time, any yoga time you're doing, like the introspective time, the reflection time, if you're intentional about it, that is such a good time for you to receive really valuable information. The veil is very thin between the dimensions, and more so than any other time, and that's a very valuable time for you to receive information that can really help you. You will receive all kinds of information, and so it's important to put up protective energy boundaries. The way that I like to put up protective energy boundaries is through intention setting, but also I'll take like saltwater baths with essential oils, like grounding essential oils. I will diffuse essential oils. I love essential oils. I use them for everything, and they really help me like stay focused on what's good. I use prayer for protection. What else do I do? Of course, yoga. A lot of hip opening and root-centered yoga for keeping your energy really rooted and grounded. So those are some ways you can protect yourself and be really intentional and getting enough rest and sleep. Like I don't know about you, but for me, like if I don't get enough rest and sleep during that time, I become even more sensitive, and it doesn't take much to set me off. So those are ways to really set yourself and the people around you certainly up to win, so that's a time that's advantageous as opposed to a nuisance or anything like that. Hi, Chrissy. So good to see you here. Hello, hello. All right. Moving on to number 4. Number 4 is dreams. Give me a 2 if you have weird dreams. Put a 2 in the box if you ever have weird dreams. Sometimes, I've always had very vivid dreams. I remember a dream that I had back when I was like, probably 7 years old. And I had this recurring dream that, like, did you guys ever have bleachers stands when you were in, elementary school or high school or even younger than that? So we had these bleacher stands, and I always had a dream that this, like, oversized red crab was chasing me. And I was like being chased by this oversized red crab in the bleacher stands. And that was like a recurring dream I had when I was like 7 years old. It's so weird and random. I remember it. I have all kinds of weird dreams every day. I had dreams about dinosaurs the other night. I had a lot of dreams about choreographing. Like I don't dance as much as I would like to anymore, but I have dreams about choreographing at least once a week. I have dreams about horses and horseback riding at least once a week. They're very vivid and all of that. So I see a lot of people who have interesting and vivid dreams. Mary had never dreamed until lately. That's interesting. So your dreams also have signs. They can be prophetic, which means they can show you the future, or they can indicate a future to you. They can share something with you that your subconscious is dealing with, that you need to deal with in your conscious. Something I like to do as I'm falling asleep is I'll actually ask my dreams for help, because I'm kind of a type A and a controller, and I like to get great results, and I'm a results-driven person. And so I like to be productive even while I'm sleeping. And so I'll ask my dreams to like solve problems for me and I'll ask them to help me. And so I often also receive guidance and clarity and inspiration through my dreams. So dreams are the fourth way for you to receive intuition. Chrissy says, bridge dreams, high tide dreams, dreams about being locked out of the test room. Oh my gosh, test room dreams. Shamika says, I have weird elevator dreams. Yeah, exactly. Thank you for sharing, you guys. It's interesting, right? Okay, so the fifth and final topic that I'm covering with you today is one of my personal favorites, and it's the way where my intuition really made itself known, and it was through yoga. So yoga is sensitivity training. And what that means is that it makes you more and more and more sensitive to your intuition and to your inner guidance. So as you practice yoga, what that means is that you learn more and more what the truth is. Truth with a capital T. I always say someone who's resisting yoga, doing yoga, is somebody who's resisting the truth. It's somebody who's resisting the truth. And that's okay. No judgment. I've been that person where I was like resisting the truth about something. But that's really what it comes down to when you're resisting your yoga practice, because yoga reveals the truth. It's like the ultimate intuition bringer. So it's not only, because of that, it's not only a healer, but it's also a catalyst. It actually accelerates things happening in your life. So like if you're wanting to make more money fast, if you're wanting to get clear on your business ideas faster, if you're wanting to manifest the relationship of your dreams faster, if you're wanting to move something that isn't working in your life out, then yoga is actually the thing that's going to help you do that. It's a catalyst for your life. So it's a channel to help you refine and hone the way that you receive your intuition. It's also a catalyst to help things move through your life faster. It's the accelerator button. Chrissy says, now I use my late evening intention setting to get answers to problems I've been solving all day. Beautiful. Mary says, love yoga. Thank you, Julie. Thanks, Mary. And so yoga is really the final trick, the final key. It's the final secret. And I found it really surprising when I first started receiving intuition through yoga, because that's not why I went to it. Like, I went to yoga to feel better in my body because I had some like arthritic and knee problems in my early 20s from an injury I had. And so when I started to receive guidance, like, hey, go apply to grad school. Like, what? I have a great job in Manhattan. Why would I go to apply to grad school? Or receiving guidance like, hey, he's not the one. Or receiving guidance like, hey, he is the one. Or receiving guidance like, hey, this is your price point for your next package. Or receiving guidance like, hey, this is the content for your next email or package. All that kind of stuff. It came from the yoga practice. And what I've discovered is the more I've done yoga and committed to that daily practice, the more I've opened myself to being that receptor, channel, servant of that intuition and following through on whatever it gives me. Natasha says, this morning was awesome. Natasha's one of my Mayans, and we just had our yoga practice, our group monthly yoga practice today. I'm so glad you loved it, Natasha. We did yoga for confidence and clarity. So it was a solar plexus focused practice. So that's it. So just to summarize, point 1 was synchronicities for the unexpected, surprising pathways of intuition for it to find its way to you. Number 1 is synchronicity. Number 2 is deja vu. Number 3 is PMS. Number 4 is dreams. And number 5 is yoga. And those are the 5 universal and also kind of surprising ways that your intuition will find its way to you. So if you're somebody who's wanting to create a better relationship with your intuition, those are 5 really important things to look for and to intentionally generate in your life. And if you're somebody who has been avoiding your intuition and you know it's time to start paying attention, those are 5 places to start to look. I think oftentimes we look at synchronicities like this, just a coincidence, like what are the odds, or we look at deja vu and brush it off like it's nothing, or we have these amazing dreams and it's like, well, that just was a dream, it wasn't anything. Or we have that sensitivity moment in the cycle and we brush it off like, oh, it's just my hormones, I was just being sensitive. Or we receive that guidance in the practice and it's like, oh, well, that was just me on the yoga mat. In other words, we dismiss these very important these nudges, these intuitive nudges. And it's time for you to stop dismissing them and to start paying attention to them. And I know that because you're watching this video, so there's a reason why you are watching this video right now. And it's because it's time for you to start paying attention. Like, this is your sign. So I hope this was helpful. I am obsessed with this topic. It's one of my favorite things to talk about is intuition, only because it's made such a big difference in my life. I mean, I was pre-med originally. I'm so glad I didn't follow the logical path, and instead I followed the intuitive path. It was a bit meandering, but I'm so much happier and so much more fulfilled, and definitely by a long stretch more prosperous than I ever would have been had I been logical in my decision making. So I hope this was helpful for all of you. I look forward to seeing your comments and thoughts and questions as you watch this, as you catch up and watch the replay. Please do hit the share button on your page if you know anyone, if you have friends who you think this would really help, or go ahead and just tag them below for them to see. Thank you for sharing, Mary. I appreciate that. And that's it. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your evening, rest of your week. And I will see you next week at 6 o'clock Pacific right here in the Dharma Talk Tuesday chair. Bye.